From Nintendo Life, Nintendo posts job listings for Zelda Breath of the Wild dungeon designers. Although it's probably a good couple of years away from launching, the Zelda Breath of the Wild sequel has obviously become one of the most anticipated games on Switch since the moment it was revealed. News on the game will likely be rather non-existent until we get closer to launch. That sentence, it's a weird one. News on the game will likely be rather non-existent until we get closer to launch. It's basically another way of saying we're not going to get any news until they give us news. Yeah.
Doesn't that make that news?
Yeah, but we do know that Nintendo is currently looking for developers to work specifically on the project. The company's official recruitment page, 2 jobs are currently listed for contract employees to work on the Zelda sequel. One is for a 3D CG, 3D computer graphics designer, while the other is for a level designer, and both will be based at Nintendo's head office in Kyoto. The 3D CG designer will be responsible for working on the game's terrain, including filled dungeons, with the level designer taking on a role that will focus on the planning and implementation of areas such as game events, dungeons, and more. While that doesn't necessarily give away any particularly juicy info, the first listing will be accepting applications until the 30th of September 2019, so just in case anyone out there was hoping for a stealth release this year, we can safely bet that almost definitely won't be the case. As we mentioned in our roundup of all things Breath of the Wild 2, we'd take a guess at a 2021 launch if we had to. I'm still going to go with 2020 because Breath of the Wild was originally going to take 3 years before they decided to delay it. And now they already have everything almost done. They don't have to delay the game for the engine or anything, so if Breath of the Wild was originally going to take 3 years, I could see Breath of the Wild 2 taking like 2 or 2.5. But that's just my thoughts. But yeah, what about starting with you, Daniel? You're the Zelda expert.
Coming from the Zelda expert himself.
Do you think?
Okay.
Do you think they should bring back dungeons?
That title. Jesse.
Yes.
My internet cut out there. I didn't hear.
No, do you think they're going to bring back dungeons? And do you think they should?
Yes and yeah. I mean, we talked about it last week with Josh as well, quite a bit. The implication to me is that they are kind of wrong with the feed, and that's why they're kind of teasing us with the dabbles of information they have been. Because after, like, I think I mentioned this last week too with Josh, but after Skyward Sword, people were like, it's too linear, we want more open exploration. So they went just like completely that way. And now people are like, but I still want to have my cake and eat it too. I want them dungeons. So now they give us a trailer showing exploring a dank, dark cave. You know, and it's all creepy and dungeony, and they have that shot with like what really looks like a dungeon entrance, and so yeah, I want to have my cake and eat it too, and yeah, I think they will give us some dungeons. That's all I gotta say about that.
All right, Choobs.
Okay, but hear me out.
No. Okay, Ilya. Okay, Choobs. Let's go.
This is why Daniel and I aren't friends in real life.
Wait, did you say are or aren't?
I definitely said aren't friends in real life.
Oh,
rude.
Okay. Oh, okay. I'll have you know I'm only mean to my friends.
What I was gonna say is, hear me out. They realize people are upset that there are no dungeons in the first Breath of the Wild, so all of Breath of the Wild 2 is gonna be a dungeon. I'm just kidding, but I think that if we're not doing anything relating to like divine beasts, like I feel like there's a very different path for them to go on for a Legend of Zelda game, that they'll probably bring back something more classic feeling like a dungeon, just because like how much more weird can you get with shrines and divine beasts before your fans really just absolutely flip out? Because while some people really liked the divine beast, some people really didn't like it, so they're probably gonna have to try to find that middle ground. seeing as though Nintendo normally listens for the fans, so we'll see what happens. But I like dungeons. Dungeons make me think a little bit more. Like, the Divine Beasts were fun, but they weren't challenging. They weren't like long and drawn out, and they didn't make me think as much as I normally would in my first playthrough of a Legend of Zelda game. There weren't a lot of things that were like, whoa, that's like a really cool puzzle idea when it came to Divine Beasts. So yeah, I'd like to see the incorporation of dungeons.
I have 2.5 things that I want to say, but one of them I'm going to save for later so I can romance Daniel with it. But the second thing is, well, this is like the half thing. I think one of the reasons that they gave us shrines, which were basically mini dungeons, is because maybe they had a lot of ideas that they thought were great, but wouldn't be a good concept for a full dungeon. Like in Skyward Sword, in the Earth dungeon, the main way to traverse it was getting on the big rock ball thing and rolling it around while you like go through all of the snake path hallways. And like just try not to touch the lava or whatever. And then in the Skyview dungeon, the first one in Skyward Sword, you had to navigate the beetle through everything. I think in Breath of the Wild, they had a ton of ideas that they thought were great, but wouldn't work for a full dungeon, so they just used them as their own little one-room puzzles for the shrines. But the other thing is what I've been saying. Instead of giving us like 100 or 120 shrines, probably like 150 or more if you count all of the DLC shrines, instead of giving us that, just like cut the number in half, give like 40 or 50 shrines, and then use the ideas and concepts you would have had for the other 50 shrines, and just take like what would have been 10 individual shrines and put it together as one big normal themed temple dungeon. That way you get all of the shrines or mini dungeons from the last game that everyone enjoyed, and then you get the new dungeons, or technically the old dungeons that everyone missed. So I think that would be like the best of both worlds. And since they're reusing the same Hyrule, the easiest way to explain why now there's suddenly dungeons and temples there that weren't there before is the same way they did at the beginning of Breath of the Wild, where Link touches the pedestal with his Sheikah Slate, and all of a sudden these giant towers come up out of the ground from nowhere. And even in the DLC, after you thought you've conquered every single shrine, when you put the Sheikah Slate on the pedestal again, suddenly these new shrines pop up out of nowhere. And they could literally just do the exact same thing again, to where the game starts out and there's suddenly another new pedestal, so Link touches it, and suddenly like the rocks and stuff crumble off the mountains or whatever, and now there's dungeons there. They were there the entire time. It was just they were hidden under the ground, just like the DLC. And I think that's what's going to happen. Or like a bunch of snow on one of the mountains is going to melt.
The castle gets like lifted, right?
Yeah.
So I assume that there's going to be some like an entrance or dungeon entrance or something.
So that is what I wanted to talk to you later about.
Cave, like stone wall that gets lifted out almost, you know?
But what I'm going to tell you after the podcast is so simple, yet so clever. Think very literal about Ganondorf, and then you might be able to figure out what I want to tell you. But it's one of the ideas.
Very lost.
Do you remember? Okay, do you remember the last video that I was like, I'm going to post this video, and it's going to be the fastest video I make to get 100,000 views. And I did, and it did. That's how I feel about this video. I feel it'll be super fast to get a lot of views, because it's such a stupid idea that I think Nintendo would do it. But it's so clever.
All
Don't
right.
say tingle.
No, it's not. Kind
Tingle
of.
is ready to
Yeah.
mingle.
It's kinda. Kinda?
Yeah, kinda.
Oh,
So-
no.
Lucy, since our geek apprentice isn't here, what are your thoughts?
She's resting
Oh, okay. What are your thoughts on
in the restroom.
all of the shrines and stuff? Did you prefer the way Breath of the Wild was laid out, or do you prefer the normal style of dungeons and temples and stuff.
Yes. No, but I do think... I mean, I haven't played much of Breath of the Wild, but I've done a lot of... Thank you. I have witnessed a lot of gameplay, and I do like the little shrines, but I do think it'd be good to go back to some more lengthy stuff, as Kayla was saying about actually like thinking and having to solve more puzzles than just one or two little.
Alright. Should we move on without Geek?
Geek.
Well,
She's
Daniel said she's probably resting in the restroom, so.
Yeah,
Okay.
she said she's going to the restroom, so so she's gonna have her.
Aw, someone's
Who
in
knows?
the Twitch chat.
Oh wait, we're on Twitch.
Restream bot says that Connor would too. Says hi.
Oh, wait, hang on a sec.
Oh, Geek, you're here.
Jesse's Twitch is not. Oh wait, we're on Gibbs's Twitch chat or on
Are we?
Gibbs's channel.
He was streaming on my channel the other day, so he could still be logged in on Restreams.
I guess so. I guess so. We're
Yeah.
on Gibbs's Twitch.
His fans
Hey,
are
Connor,
probably like,
what-
what's going on?
They're like,
Where's Gibbs?
Who are all these people who are not Gibbs?
Which one of these dudes is Gibbs?
Which one?
Yeah. So
Is that a
Daniel,
burrito?
Oh, she was hungry.
do you want to take the...
I did get something too. I had to go to the bathroom.
so you were resting.
In the restroom.
And the rest.
Do you want
How
to take
was
the
your-
Smash news?
Hell yeah!
Yes.
I like.
No, wait,
Smash
really
News.
quick. Geek,
Okay. Fine.
what do you think
What-
about
what?
the... Do you want things to stay like Breath of the Wild, or do you want traditional dungeons back, or a mix of both?
Both.
Okay, go
I want
Daniel.
both.
All right.
Yeah, that's pretty much it.
Lucy and I done.
Sweet. Every time you say geek, Jesse, like a part of me like flinches almost.
Well,
Yeah, just like,
the days of
like,
being
don't-
you're coming back.
she's
yeah, yeah.
transitioning out of
People like
Ilya to Geek. So,
Or TGA, I don't know.
or yeah, TG, but it's
Exactly.
like... Sorry,
Exactly
Lucy?
what I said would happen.
What?
Exactly what I said would happen before the stream happened.
Ah.
I think I muted everything, but
Well, I didn't
we'll
hear
see.
anything, so yeah. Mr. D, do you want to take the Smash stuff?
Okay.
And then
What
we're
if
skipping the
I
other
wanted
news.
to take the
Do you?
Smash?
You can if you want.
What if Lucy want?
Didn't want
Do
to
you
put the
want-
new people on the spot, but
Yeah,
can
you ever
t-
think about
Do you
other
want?
keys in the channel?
I can take it. If
Okay,
I'm not
you're welcome
offended by
to
me usurping. I also have no idea how that game is pronounced, so we're gonna butcher that right off the block.
Sweet.
Hey everyone, it's me again, Ilya Rose. I just wanted to say thank you so much for watching this video. And you know what? If you're a fan of videos like this, you should totally subscribe and give this video a like and comment below to let us know what type of videos you would like to see us create in the future. And if you would really like to support all of us here at the Game Over Jessie channel, please consider purchasing a Game Over Jessie t-shirt or becoming a Patreon at patreon.com/GameOverJessie, where you can receive many rewards, such as getting shoutouts, having any topic or theory that you select discussed on the podcast or made into its own video, having your question answered, joining on as a guest on the podcast, and playing with us during our Twitch live streams at twitch.tv/GameOverJessie, and much, much more.